want to see this bad bill that's way too expensive, that hurts too many people, that deprives people of insurance that they've been paying on forever and ever, and it's going to cause loss of jobs, loss of pride. It's going to cost us doctors. We don't have enough doctors now, and there's a provision in here, I can read it to you, where they say they're going to tell the doctor how much money he or she can make. And they say they're not going to distinguish between the fact that they're specialist or not. They're going to get the same. That's almost communism. But that's in this bill, and they deny that. But it's in here. And then, Tom, where are you? I hope he hadn't gone to Rockwall with my car. Turn around, flap that open for him a little. That's the bill right there. Bring it to me, Tom, if you can. That's the bill that we started out on. That's H.R. 3200. And it was handed to us. I have to look at the top of it first. But here it is, right there. That's the bill that we were given. They wrote it July the 14th, and July the 15th we started debating it. That's when Henry Waxman handed it to us. Nobody had read that, I can guarantee you that. No one, Republican or Democrat, except the guy that wrote it. And there may be 5 of them or 10 of them or 20 of them that wrote it. I don't know who wrote it. Nobody will say who wrote it. But it wasn't read, and it was debated on for 2 weeks, up until past midnight a lot of times. And we sent up amendments. One amendment was that if we pass this bill and it's signed by the president, in order to avail yourselves of the benefits of the bill, you have to be a citizen of this state. Democrats voted that down. I don't know how they do that and go home, but that's the way the situation is. They have the full votes. They have the right to do what they want to do, and they're going to play with us for the next 2 weeks after we get up there and try to cajole some of those blue dogs. But they're frightened to death of the leader, of the speaker, because Dingell, who'd been 38 years chairman of Energy and Commerce, a leader up there, he disagreed with her on global warming on a minor issue. Wham, she jerked him out of there. And that's what all those young guys see, that if you disagree with her, you're gone. And that's a lesson they learn. And they want to keep their committees. And there's a lot of good guys, a lot of good Democrats over there, good people that I worked with that I knew were good, God-fearing, cared for this country, had fought for this country, educated themselves, paying a lot of taxes and things like that. But they're afraid that she'll jerk them off of their committee. And they're trying their best to be good Democrats and still represent their district, and that's going to come to a real conflict for them in the next 2 or 3 weeks. It already came in the Energy and Commerce, the debate there, because they voted against their district on numerous occasions. On one occasion, the amendment was sent up to cut out the section that killed $300 billion of Medicare. And that's the one that takes care of people in regions, in poorer regions. And it levels out, it ties into long tenures of disability that doctors and Congress don't like to fool with today and don't like to think about. They're treating it as they go and doing the best they can with no plan. But that's the closest we have to a plan. They have an amendment to take that out, about $300 billion. And we sent up an amendment. They voted it down. The last vote that was taken on an amendment, I sent up an amendment, said, please let us keep half of it. I think 190-something billion. Voted it down. I went to the congressman from Houston. I showed him how many people in Harris County would not have any insurance but for this, would not have any health care but for this. And I said, and if I were you, I sure wouldn't vote against this, because, and I went to Charlie Gonzalez, who was the chairman of one of the committees, and Henry Gonzalez's son took Henry's place there, represents San Antonio, a good guy, friend of mine. I gave him notice ahead of time of what my amendment did, and he really ought to look at it very close, and if he was going to vote against it, he ought to dismiss the vote or do something, because it'd be disastrous to him if they found out. I don't know how they're going to find out if the liberal press won't report it, and I don't know if they did or not. But those guys voted against 6,000 and 8,000 people in their own counties right there immediately, and that's a vote to take away from them. It won't come back. So those are, and there's a lot of other votes just like that in here. And when people tell you something's not in there, you find somebody to get online and find the right provision in there and read it for yourself, because all of that stuff's in there. If they say that there's not anything in there about our last days, this is for us old people. Great mandates, the government mandates program for orders for end of life. The government has a say in how your life ends. That's in page 427, lines 15 to 24. Advantage care consultation may include an order for end-of-life plans. That's page 429, 10 to 12 lines. The government will specify which doctors can write an end-of-life order. I don't believe I want that. Do you? I believe that's family ought to do things like that. That's absolutely in here. That's on page 429, lines 13 to 25. And the government decides what level of treatment you'll have at end of life. You know, I'm 86. 16 years ago, I couldn't have got an operation over in England because they didn't do those operations on people after they were 70. They just waited for them. It's other people needed them worse than they did. There's all those things. Even says the government will cover marriage and family therapy. I don't know what that means, and I didn't want to read any further on it. But it's just things all the way like that all the way through here. And if you're not mad, real mad all over right now, let me just give you some other hard, cold facts. These are things we have to live with. We furnish the rear for the rear kicking up there. That's really what we're doing. And we're trying to make them pay us. We're trying to hold them to it and let the press know, and we debate it fully. It's all of record up there. You can read it. That's where we are. If you're not already mad, let me tell you about this. And this is dated August the 5th, 2009. Lawmakers excoriated, last year lawmakers excoriated, and I don't know what that means. I think it means they fussed at them or did something or hit at them or something. They probably told them, shut up. I don't know. I'm embarrassed about that. I really am. I wish I hadn't said it. Of the big three automakers for traveling to Washington, D.C. by private jet to attend a hearing about a possible bailout of their companies. Remember that? That's all over the papers. They really gave them the devil about it. Probably if several of them came in the same jet, it'd probably less money than flying American or somebody would for all of them flying first class and coming up there and back. But whatever, it was their jets, and they made a big to-do about it. Well, apparently Congress is not philosophically adverse to private air travel. At the end of July this year, the House approved nearly $200 million for the Air Force to buy 3 elite Gulfstream jets for ferrying top government officials and members of Congress. Further specified that they be assigned to the D.C. area units that carry members of Congress, military brass, and top government officials. The legislation does not disclose which member had requested the additional money. The cabin aboard the G550 combines productivity with exceptional comfort. It features up to 4 distinct living areas, 3 temperature zones, a choice of a floor plan configurations, 12 floor plan configurations, and seating for up to 18 people. That's your government money at work. That's almost as bad as a bridge to nowhere. And then here the bankers reaped lavish bonuses during bailouts. And just where you have an idea of what they did really, this is in the last 2 weeks. I believe it's out of the New York Times. But it says thousands of top traders and bankers on Wall Street were awarded huge bonuses and pay packages last year, even as their employers were battered by the financial crisis. At Goldman Sachs, for example, bonuses of more than $1 million went to 953 traders and bankers. And Morgan Stanley awarded 7-figure bonuses to 428 employees. Even at weaker banks like Citigroup and Bank of America, $1 million awards were distributed to hundreds of workers. And that's something that's just unforgivable. And I think it's something that we're going to remember a long, long time. And I'm very hopeful that we get a shot at them in 2010.